Hey everyone. Right, I'm going to give it probably a minute, not even a minute, for people to log on. Just waiting for the invite button to come up. Right, if you're new to watching me, could you put new in the comments? Just so I know you've stopped by. If the red box isn't there, then I'm not live, so just pop a replay in the comments. Oh gosh. Hey Kelly, hey Tracy. Oh gosh, I'm so nervous. Hey Judy. Hey Taylor. Hey Natalie. Hey Sam. Oh, hey Sam's my sister. Hey Vicky. Right, I'm going to give it about 30 seconds because it's going on quite quickly. Hey Hannah. Thanks, lovely. I'll give it 30 seconds and then I'll get going. I am sweltering. I'm so hot. Hey Becky. I'm really nervous as well. Like, this is so different to doing tutorials. Like, you can hear that I'm nervous. How's your day been, Taylor? Are you melting? Because I am. I've got the fan on me as well. Oh, thanks, Mum. Right, okay, so I want to do this live, and it came very apparent to me from the last couple of days of sharing my post that people are still a little bit scared of talking about this. And right, let's face it, it's not an easy subject and it's really difficult. So I shared it a lot, and I shared it into loads of groups that I'm in. Not many accepted it, they deleted it, and it kind of made me sad, not for my story but for everyone else, because like stillbirth happens like every day, no matter, like it's always going to happen. Even if you've got the best of the best care, sometimes it happens. Sometimes it's just, there's nothing you can do about it. Hey Susan. Right, so again, if you're new, if you just logged on, if you're new, can you just write new in the comments if you've not seen any of my lives before? If the red box isn't at the top, can you just pop replay in the comments? And I'd absolutely love you to bits if you'd share this, even if it doesn't affect you or you haven't got a clue what I'm talking about. Someone will know someone this has happened to. Hey Lisa, hey Sarah. So, hey Chanel. For those of you who don't know me, my name's Hannah. I've got 3 children and I've got 2 little boys in heaven. So I had my little girl, Olivia. I came pregnant quite quickly afterwards. I wasn't sure, I was quite poorly, like sickness, but I wasn't aware that I was pregnant. So I found out quite late on in the pregnancy. And while that was going on, I went away, I came back, and just something wasn't right. And it turned out I had a scan. I got sent straight up to the hospital to have a scan, and I'd had a miscarriage. So that was Lennon. He was born at 17 weeks. I got given a tablet, I went into hospital, he was delivered, he was tiny. He was probably just like the size of my hand. His whole hand fitted over the top of my finger. That was awful. I've never, like, my pregnancy with Olivia was not too bad. It had a few complications at the end, but nothing major. So this just came out the blue. Hey Helen. Hey Liz. So I had Lennon and then got pregnant again with Zach, and there was something in my bloods that the doctors weren't quite sure of, and because I'd lost Lennon, they classed it as high risk pregnancy. So I had checks, nothing extreme or too unusual. I wasn't up the hospital all the time. I was really hungry, like really hungry all the time, and I piled on the weight, and I had like a clicky hip. I don't know the name of it. I had a clicky hip, so sleeping became really painful. I had the same midwife throughout every pregnancy, so she knew me, which I absolutely loved. You don't always get that. So she kind of knew me, and she knew when I was struggling, and she wasn't quite happy with some of my results that came back. Thank you, darling. I'm going to go through the comments again at the end. Okay, so if you ask me something, and I will welcome any questions, please feel free to just comment, but I lose my trail really quickly. Okay, so I might not pay too much attention of the comments, but I will come back to them. So anyway, she sent me up to the hospital because I was struggling to walk, and there was no one there. It was the day ward or whatever it was called back in those days. This was in 2003, so this was a long time ago, and it's still hard to talk about, but I feel like I can talk about it now. Oh, is that what it's called? I'm not even going to say that. Oh, see, sister knows. So I went up there. There was me and one other lady waiting to see a doctor. The doctor wasn't about. He was on his lunch. And then he came up and he was laughing and joking with the lady behind the reception and saying, oh, you know, you pulled me out of my lunch, and I think they were having some kind of celebration. Went into one of the beds, and he looked at my notes and he went, oh, you're over 38 weeks, you're just struggling, it's hot. And we were having like an Indian summer heat wave. It was so hot. It's like, you're just struggling, it's uncomfortable. And I just thought, okay, maybe I'm just being one of those paranoid mothers, that's fine, okay. And then he gave me a referral to physio, which was down the other end of the hospital. So you know, he wanted me to go down the other end of the hospital, which I did. But what he did do, because I was due the following week, I had an appointment because I was classed as high risk. On my 40 weeks, I had an appointment with the consultants and then they were going to check me over and see if anything needed doing, what was happening. So he brought that forward by a couple of days. That was for the Wednesday, and he brought my appointment forward to the Monday. So this was the week before. So off I went home. Hey Lola, hey Marty. So I went home, really struggled. My mum and dad bought us a new mattress because I had an old mattress and they wanted me to be comfortable. We got everything organised, crib was up, and we were just so busy. It was so busy. I was in the bath on the Monday morning and I was poking him and I was prodding him, and he was really low down. So I thought, oh, maybe he's engaged and maybe it's going to happen any minute now. And then I was poking him and he wasn't quite moving. So I thought, you know, he's not got a lot of room. I was breech at 28 weeks, and I've got to say, through my pregnancy, hey Steph, hey Rachel, through my pregnancy, I had hiccups. He had hiccups. Not just your normal hiccups. They went on for hours and hours and hours. And I'd said this to them, and they were like, that's normal, it's fine. So I was like, okay, fair enough. So I went to the appointment on the Monday. She couldn't hear a heartbeat. So she said, we're just going to get the machine because sometimes, you know, it can be difficult. It's like, okay. And then she was silent. She said, there is no heartbeat. And she walked out the room. And then she said, wait there. So obviously you do. And you're in shock. And then we went into another room and I was scanned for probably nearly an hour. They didn't say anything to me. And they said, can we take you up now and induce you? I was like, no, I've got a child at home. It's like, no way. And you don't know what to do, like your brain just goes numb, like you're expecting a child any minute, any day. So then you're trying to deal with all this and trying to deal with life and trying to like get everything organised. Anyway, I went back the next morning, I was induced. I don't know, hey Sarah, I don't know whether they still do this at the hospital that I was at, but for stillbirths they had one room right at the back. Okay, so there was basically a long corridor, there were delivery rooms either side, and you get sent to the back. I got a normal midwife, and my midwife was amazing, absolutely amazing. I got sent to the back room. Some consultants came in. My notes, I have some people in the family that are good at reading medical notes, so there were some things that we were a bit confused on. But they were just like, you know, it happens, these things happen. That was it. It was just one of these things that happen. Hey Rachel, hey Vix. So I was induced, waited, and the moment that will always haunt me, we were playing cards. It was late afternoon, we were playing cards, and this woman across the room was screaming and screaming. She was obviously a neighbour. and then you heard a baby scream, and I just thought, I'm not going to hear my baby do that. I'm not going to hear my baby do that. That will haunt me. See, this is what I mean. This never goes away. It'll never ever go away. But you learn to get on with life, and it happens all the time, and I don't want people to think that they can't talk about it, because it's so hard. You could talk about it all the time, and the best thing ever is someone mentioning your baby's name. If they've got a name, or if they gave birth, if they were that far on, then ask them if they got the baby weight, you know, or just say, do you want to talk about it? Because I lost a lot of friends through no fault of their own. They didn't know what to say, which was fine, but a hug or a text message, loads of kisses, and just say, like, I don't know what to say. And that's okay. What can you say when something like that's happened? There is nothing. Nothing can change it. Nothing can bring your baby back. But sometimes you just need to know that someone's there. I'm not going to read the comments because I'm going to make me cry more. My midwife was away when it happened. And when she left, she said, oh, I'm going to see you when you've got your baby. I was like, yeah, okay. And she turned up at my door and she just said, I don't know what to say. So the amount of years I've been in this and I don't know what to say to you. I said, you can't say anything. And she came in and she sat and she listened to me for hours. And I never got that at the hospital. I had him at 7:20 in the morning and he was perfect. I had gas and air and I had an injection in my leg, and I was hoping, just before he was coming, my midwife said, you don't, like, if you're right there, you can deliver him. But I just thought, maybe I just need to be drugged up a little bit more. I didn't want to go through that emotion. I didn't want to meet my baby. So I had another injection of something, I don't know. And then I delivered him and he was perfect. He was £8.1 and he was perfect. He had a really long cord and he had a knot in his cord and it was around his neck. So gradually as he got bigger and he ran out of room, he didn't have enough oxygen. Now, if my doctor at the hospital, and I'm not going to mention names, if they put me on a certain machine, that would have been picked up. So he had a post-mortem and there was nothing wrong, and I didn't expect there to be, because he was perfect. He was chubby, he was chunky, he had loads of dark hair, he had big feet. The socks, the little booties that we took in, he couldn't get on his feet. So I didn't expect for them to find anything. I knew what was wrong. So trying to mentally come to terms and knowing that he should have been here, and I felt like I let him down, because I should have kicked off in the hospital. I should have said, no, there's something wrong, or why haven't you put me on that machine? But I didn't. So for many years I struggled. This is hard. And I had Olivia, and I thought, how can I take her out of the house if I can't grow a baby inside me and not get them here? How can I take this small human out and look after her and raise her? What happens if something happens? So that was a mental struggle, and I wasn't offered any counselling at all. When my midwife cried with me, my sister was there. It was a really hot day. He had a fan on him. The doctor came in. He was speaking to me. I was so out of it. Hey, Melissa. I was really out of it, and that's how I wanted it to be. I didn't have any pictures with him. I held him and I saw his face and I looked at his feet and I checked that there were 10 toes and 10 fingers. And that's how I wanted to keep it in my mind. And it's his birthday today. And like I said, I don't get to do birthday cakes, Christmas, first days of school. I don't get to do any of that. And I didn't know anyone else's happened to. I didn't know. This was 2003. But I don't even think Facebook was around in 2003. I felt completely on my own. I had an amazing family there for me. I couldn't have got through it without them. And when all my children are born, my mum does this like big bag of gifts and wraps them up individually, and she always put a teddy on top of them. And she'd already got this teddy for Zach. She saw it, and she loves teddies, so she saw it and she's like, that's for Zach. And I've got that, and this was perfect. This is my teddy. This is 15 years old today. Well, not today, but, and look how perfect he looks. He's out all the time. I don't box him up, and he looks absolutely perfect. And I cuddled it every day because it was like the size of my baby. So that is a really good, if you know someone that's gone through this, if they're going, you know, you can kind of, you know the size of a baby at the certain, how many weeks they are, find a teddy or suggest that they get a teddy at the same size, and that can be them. And the same as like going out, and you know you can get all the things for children, like the zipper clips and, you know, like the bottles and the plaques with names on. Sometimes if they've got Zachary, I'll get the Zachary. It's kind of just making him still part of me, because he is. Like, when it happens, oh, my other sister just joined. Hey Richard, when it happens, you change forever. I think I'm crying more because I know family are watching. And it hurts. It always hurts. But never stop talking. Never. If you know someone it's happened to, ask them questions. Ask them if they want to talk about it. Sometimes they'll say no, and I think everyone's really different. You know, sometimes I could talk about it and I could chat, and like I was laughing and smiling, and I got all these things out earlier. I've got 2 boxes full of like the first things I bought him. Little booties, the hat that he wore in the hospital, I've got that. The funeral people, they did a print of his hand, his foot, and they cut a lock of his hair. I got them from the hospital, but they weren't that great. Being brave. Thank you. So I've got them. I've got his hair that's so long. And I'll treasure them forever. And I used to store them away like the boxes, but then I thought, and you do think, what happens if there's a fire? Like, I want my boxes. And I think as long as you keep talking, you do need as much as you can. Like those things I've got albums full. All of his flowers that people bought, all of his cards, his first balloons that we put up for him. Some people call it an anniversary, some people say birthday, and I think that's really just individual. And if you know someone that's going through it, just ask them what they like. Maybe they don't want to talk about it. And I know some people, we've got we called it, he wasn't cremated, no, he was buried, and he doesn't have a tombstone. That makes it really final. He's got a garden, so we've always called it, and obviously Olivia was only young, So we've always said, right, we're going to go to Zach's garden. So that's what we call it. It's Zach's garden, and it's always got flowers in. We've made things. My mum did pottery, so there's things there that are made of pottery that have lasted 12 years. They've lasted 12 years, excuse me. Thanks, Debbie. Right, everyone who's watching, could you please share this? Because if you weren't watching at the beginning, oh, my nose. If you weren't watching at the beginning, I said that I shared this a lot yesterday, and it got deleted from loads of places, just because I don't think people know what to say or how to react to it. So I want to get this message out there, and it's upsetting and it's hard. It's always going to be hard, always. But I feel I need to get the message out there that this is going to happen every day. Everyone knows someone. I wouldn't want anyone to experience this. It should never ever happen, no matter what stage you're at, whether you're right at the beginning or you're right at the end. Zach was born at 39 weeks and 6 days. He was born the day before his due date. So to go that far, it's so painful, no matter what you are through, whether you're right at the beginning or right at the end. It's so difficult, and sometimes people don't always know how to start a conversation. And I know a lot of the time I couldn't talk to friends, the ones that did approach me, I wouldn't want to talk to about this, because I didn't want them to be uncomfortable. I didn't want them to feel like I was upsetting them. So I think if you are a friend of someone that it's happened to, go to them and just say, look, if you want to talk about it, if they've got a name, if you want to talk with he, she, whatever, how far along they were, whatever happened. And it really is personal to each and every person. Some people won't want to talk about it. Some people will have counselling. They'll be in contact with other people that it's happened to. And some people find a better connection with people that it's happened to. And that's their kind of venting, like they've got that connection, they can talk to them, and they don't want to talk to other people. Everyone's different. But what I really want to put out there is that it's okay, whether you want to talk or you don't want to talk. I don't want it to be such a taboo subject. It is really difficult. It's always going to be difficult. And I think you kind of, if you just suppress the emotions, it just eventually, like, you go through your day-to-day life and you get things done, but it will eat away at you if you don't feel the emotions and address them. Oh, thanks, Natalie. That's why I've always been a bit unsure about putting things on Facebook, and again, I didn't want to upset anyone. I didn't want anyone to feel awkward, but at the same time, I'm proud of my baby. I'm proud of Lennon. I'm proud of Zach. I'm proud of all my children that are still here. And it's difficult, like when people ask you like how many children you've got, I say 3, but in my head I'm thinking I've got 5. But then you don't want to just go into a conversation with them about all that, and you know, I don't want them to feel uncomfortable. So I would say there's nothing that you can do that would make it better for them. It's a process that everyone has to go through, and like I said, it's not like a case that you'll get over it, because you don't. It changes the person and the family. It changes. It's grief that you have to deal with that you don't expect to deal with, and it was really unexpected. And you do think, how am I going to get over this? And I remember like things, this was 15 years ago, and I remember things so clearly like it was yesterday, like waking up one morning, and for that split second when you wake up and you kind of like, you don't like, you're not with it, are you? That split second, I'd go to sleep looking forward to that split second where I wasn't aware of anything. I didn't have to think about anything. I hadn't remembered. Obviously then it comes flooding back, and you know, and you know the time, you know what's gone on, and it just hits you like a ton of bricks again. But for that split second, I wanted that every morning, just to not remember. And that's again another reason why I stopped going out so much. It was just, I need to look after the child I've got. I don't feel confident. And so many people would see me pregnant. I was huge. I put on lots of weight. I struggled. Everyone was expecting a baby. So I didn't ever want to put myself in that situation of someone saying, have you had your baby? Where's your baby? I didn't want to deal with that. Didn't want to do it. So I kind of just kept myself to myself and let everyone else kind of just hear from people. Because like I said, we didn't have Facebook in those days. There was text messages. There was no group messages or anything like that. Loads of people joining. If you're new to watching me, can you just put new in the comments, just so I know you stopped by? Because if I'm not friends with you, I won't see that you're watching. And please, please feel free to share this. I really want to get the awareness of stillbirth out there. Okay, where are my comments gone? So, kind of compose myself now. Like days I'm absolutely fine. Most of the days I'm fine. And then you do, when you feel like that, you need to let it out. And you need to really be in the moment and be clear of what you're feeling. And maybe, you know, that is talking to someone. Like I said, I didn't have any counselling. I wasn't offered any counselling. I had a great family that supported me. And I think it's only the last few years, and read books. Read books that give you confidence, that work on yourself. Because that's one thing, as you know, when you're carrying a baby, you think you can do it, and you wonder why your body's let you down. And it can be soul destroying, and it can take away your confidence completely for everything, for yourself, for your life, for relationships, for friendships. You just don't, you can't understand it. So I'd read books. There's so many books out there. Read books that are confidence in brain, emotional intelligence books. Make time for yourself. Thanks, Natalie. I think now they do. I'm not sure why I wasn't offered it. I think maybe I had a conversation with the doctor, that he went through things, but I don't know why I had a doctor going on and on, sitting there in my ear when I was completely drugged up and my baby was over the other side of the room. Not quite sure why they had to do it at that point. So I completely shut off to anything he said, and I couldn't hear him. I really couldn't hear him. The fan was going, it was constantly on Zach. I was sweltering. It was 35-degree heat. And you know what, your midwives don't forget as well. The year on his first anniversary, sometimes I call it a birthday, but I'm quite okay with calling it an anniversary. I had a card come through the door from my midwife that delivered him. That blew me away. And when I had Kaylee, she was still at the hospital. And it was just magical moments like that, that people that are in your life at that time, that you'll never forget. And that was hard. You know, I'd had this beautiful baby boy and I couldn't show him off. I couldn't take him home. So that was really difficult, really difficult. It's all these little things, and still now, like I think it was last year, I think it was last Christmas, I went to the cemetery, but they'd already shut it. And I just felt like the worst mother in the world, because I couldn't have gone to the cemetery on Christmas Day and put flowers down. We put Christmas decorations around his little garden, and the funeral flowers that he had are the red and white roses. I love roses, they're my favourite. So we got red and white roses, and every anniversary he'll have red and white roses. And proper, you know, the big, proper, expensive roses. I can't remember what I was going to say. Can't remember. I was thinking of something that's completely gone. So if you're still watching and you didn't hear me say, could you please share this live for me? I just want to get this subject out there. And I want people to support people. And I want people that have been through this to know that it's okay to talk. And they shouldn't worry about upsetting other people. And it's a process. Everyone's process of dealing with this is completely different, and it depends what support you get from family, what's gone on, all the details of how it's happened. It kind of goes into deciding on how someone deals with it. Like I said, because there was no real reason why he wasn't, it's not like there was a major medical something that was wrong that it meant he wouldn't have survived. It wasn't anything like that. He was perfect, and they missed something big time. And I did all my research. I was told nothing, absolutely nothing. Do not be scared to ask questions. And at the time, they will say to you, have you got any questions? What questions are you supposed to think of at that point in time? Because my mind was just a complete blur. I didn't know. I didn't have what question. I didn't know what to ask. I had to feel, and I had to go through a process. You're not sure, and when you don't know all the answers, how can you have questions? And I think it's really important you'll have access to medical records. If you aren't sure, get access. Again, even if it's part of the healing process, you'll never get over it. Some people will say, oh, you're over it now, you're feeling better. I think it's just their way of not knowing what to say, and they want to say something, and in your mind it's like, that's not the right thing to say. But they're trying to put themselves out there, and they don't know what to say. Because like I said, what can you say? It's a heartbreaking situation. At any time throughout pregnancy, it's heartbreaking. And I'm doing this today, and I knew I'd get upset because it's his birthday. But this is my little tribute. I can't do him a birthday party. He doesn't have a bike. He's not at school. I've not bought him any presents apart from the things that are on his garden. Yeah, not bad. I think we coped like well together. And when you go through it, like, it changes. Like when you're really upset, everyone's strong for you, and when they're really upset, you try and be the strong person. And I think that's kind of like the process it balanced out. Like no one got, I don't know why, I don't know whether it was through the doctors or whether you had to apply for it, but no one got any support at all. No family. Thanks, Vix. So we just supported each other. Everyone just supported each other, and we just got on with it. And now I know that there's some fantastic charities out there. There's loads of organisations that at a click of a button you can get to, and obviously the internet wasn't really around that much, or you know, it wasn't instant access like it is now. So it was more difficult. Like I researched hours and hours of the symptoms I had, of what I found in my notes, and like his hiccups that could have been picked up. It could have been picked up. But now you have to come to an acceptance that it's happened, and you have to focus on the special things you have. Like, okay, I haven't got him with me, but if I did have him, then I wouldn't have Kaylee here, and I probably wouldn't have had Kai here. And I just treasure the things that I've got so much. Like just the little things, the little hat that he wore, the first things we brought. I've still got all of those precious things. I've got this necklace. I don't know if you can see it. It's little diamantes and that angel wings. It's a heart and it's angel wings. It opens up. And I've got it engraved on the back as well. I can't actually remember what it says. Zachary, my angel, and then his birthday is on the back. It's little things like that. For his 10th birthday, my sisters got a star for him, and it was one of the most amazing gifts that we've ever had. The most amazing. And they also got me the jewellery for the August, you know, like the gemstones. You can get the birthstones for August. I've got them. It's little things like that. It's all those little things. When you get to like that part of the family, they're never going away. So if people can just pick up on that, like my sisters, I'll get messages from my sisters on his birthday. I go to the cemetery at Christmas time and I make it look nice in the summer. I go all the time, and it's always going to be Zach's garden to the children. They kind of just, they've grown up, and that's how it is. They've got 2 brother angels in heaven that they don't live with, but they've got them. That's how it is. We always talk about them. If they've got any questions, then I'll just try and be open. They've never really got upset. They've just wondered about things. They have been amazing, very amazing. I'm very, very blessed to have my sisters and the support, and I know I can go and speak to them. And one of them was at the birth, so that's really you know, that's a special, and that's really hard to be at, to do. Right, I think I've said everything I want to say. I just wanted to chat. I didn't make any notes. I didn't write anything down. There were things that I wanted to say that I thought, oh, I really want to say that. I didn't write it down. It was just, I just want it to be me talking about my experience. I want it to be real. I want it to be raw, and know that there's ups and downs. All I really ask is if you can share this, make it public and share it, because I want to get the awareness for stillbirth out there. It's painful. Like, we had to go and register him. We've got a death certificate for him. That's so difficult, so difficult. And it's hard when you have to do all these things and you've got the image of a perfect baby in your mind and he's not here. Like when your children do something at school and you shout it out, don't you? You know, you're really proud, and I don't get to do that. I don't get to do that, and it's hard. So when someone sees a little thing with Zachary, or you get a little note or anything, or someone asks you, or even if you're in a conversation and it does come up, and then they, instead of going, oh, I'm really sorry, and change the subject, say, oh, was he weight? Oh, did you get to choose a name? Do you want to talk about it? Do you know what I mean? It's hard. It's so hard, but do it. For me personally, that is the best thing anyone could do, is talk about him, because he was real, and that's a real comfort. That's something that I've got that no one else that's got, is that I felt him. We used to, like, he'd stick his bum out and then he'd stick his foot out over the other side. And I'm sure loads of babies did it, but it's a memory that I have with him. That's one of the only memories I've got, that he was real. And I used to, you know, push my finger in my tummy and run it along, and chase his feet. I used to do that, and that's comforting. And like at first, like when I said that it was hard to go out because I'd put on so much weight and everyone saw this big bump and then nothing, I didn't like myself. I didn't like the body that didn't get him here. I had stretch marks all over my stomach, which loads of women get, and I'm not ashamed of them now. And now I've got one really big one over on my right hand side, which I hated, and I started to get them underneath my arms as well in the last week of pregnancy, and I love them. I absolutely love them now, because I got them when he was alive and when I was growing him, and it's my kind of little memory that I've got of when he was here with me, in me. So now I really, really appreciate the big stretch mark that I've got. I mean, obviously after this amount of time it's faded, but I know it's there, and that's him on me. That's my reminder that he's always with me. Same as my necklace. I wear this necklace most days. This is my little reminder. I've got a tattoo. Should get it tattooed. I've got 5 stars. I don't know. Can you? Oh, hold on a minute, miss. Can you see my stars? Can you see them? I can't see. I've got 5 stars. I've got 5 stars. So I've got the first one's Olivia, and then it's Lennon and Zach, and those two twinkle and the others don't. But I want to get a big thigh. I've got a really good footprint. The funeral directors did me the most amazing, the handprint wasn't that great, but the footprint is amazing, and it's still so clear. I want to get that on my thigh. Oh, bless her heart. True superstar. Exactly. Oh, cool. Oh, the stretch mark tattoos. No, I haven't seen. Oh no, I haven't seen them. So I've got his footprint, so I want to get that put on me, and I will get. I love tattoos, so I will get more tattoos dedicated to him. And it's just, again, it's putting just a little extra bit of him on me, and just for me personally. And I think whoever's been through it and is a mummy who's gone through it, and doing those little things is like super important. Even if it's like buying a box full of the first letter of their name, buying the plaques, buying the bottles, buying the books with the names on. If that's what you want to do, then do it. I think it's so important. And there's lots of places out there that people can get counselling, talking about it, finding other women that have been through it, finding other families that have been through it. Everyone is different. This is the thing. Every single person is different. But I just want people to know it's okay to talk. It's hard, it's painful, it's difficult, but do it. Don't suppress anything. Don't punish yourself. I did that for a long time, and you know, you do get on with day-to-day life, but I think it kind of, if you really suppress your feelings, then it's going to trip you up big time when you're least expecting it. Right, ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to love you and leave you. If you're watching on replay, could you put playback? No, if you can't even get my words out now. Can you put replay in the comments if you're watching on playback? And if you haven't shared this live, I'd really, really love you to share it. Make it public. Hey Marilyn, make it public. Let people know it's okay to talk. It's so difficult, but it's okay. And people, you do get through it. You don't get over it. You'll never get over it. No matter what stage you're at, it's painful and it's hard. And you'll never understand why. But you can get through it with help. And like I said, there's so many good self-help books out there. I never ever read, never, until like 2 years ago. Never read. And it's the most amazing thing I've ever done is read books. It's helped me. It helps me communicate. Reading books helps me communicate. And that's what I want to do. I want to get out there and I want to tell people that it's all right. And I want, even like if it's not, you, by you sharing this, it could be a friend of a friend that sees it. That's how Facebook works. And it could help them. And you might help someone without even realising. And the same with me, by doing this, it could just help someone that little bit. Make them feel okay, or make them realise that the way they felt today is fine, and not to punish themselves. Thanks, Steph. Right, girlies, I'm sweating one out now. I'm going to go and turn my fan up, and I'm going to love you and leave you. Thank you for supporting.